Yes.
Do you think the time has come for term limits for all statewide elected officials and members of the Senate and Assembly? And what do you think those term limits should be? Mr. Kaplowitz, I'll ask you
Yes,
first.
absolutely. We have term limits. They're called elections, fair and vigorous. And ladies and gentlemen, we have the chance, after 2 years, to term limit out, if you choose, Assemblyman Ball. That's the Democratic way. Second point. Term limits are a means to get to a goal. The goal is ethical, good government and legislators that are working. An independent redistricting program does that. I was the first to sign on to that among the two of us. I've signed all in pledges, Mayor Koch and the like, to say, and Mayor Giuliani, that we need fair, independent redistricting. That will create fair fights. That will create the democracy that we need. The major problem with term limits is, and the structural problem that eats away like a boll weevil in cotton, is the leadership in Albany. When you are in the Assembly for year after year after year, and you only are accountable to your membership, then the rest of us be darned. That's the problem. I support leadership term limits. Legislators can then vote for new leaders. That knowledge that there will be new leaders, we did that at the county. I voluntarily gave up. This gentleman doesn't even know my record. He didn't foil it till recently. I was budget chairman for 4 years. I voluntarily gave up budget chairman.
You didn't answer my question, though, so you do not support term limits.
Absolutely. It's called vigorous and fair elections. It's called independent redistricting.
That wasn't my
it's
question.
called
Okay.
leadership term limits for leadership. And if you ask me for term limits for legislators, my answer is no, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Balk, same question to you.
It's once again, Mike Kaplowitz has been, Tax Like Mike has been tap dancing all over this stage. I support term limits. I term limited myself as an assemblyman. You know, many politicians make promises and then they don't follow through with them. I absolutely support term limits. As county legislator, there are county legislators in Westminster County right now, a bipartisan coalition that has formed to term limit county legislators. You will not even sign that term limit pledge. The number one reform initiative that we can pass in Albany to change the culture of corruption, a culture that really subsidizes incumbency and incompetency, is to pass term limits. And for the first time in a long time, because of the climate that's out there, we can get term limit legislation passed either for committee chairs or for the actual legislative term.
And what should those term limits be, sir?
I personally would like to see anything between 6 to 10 years. I think that that's probably too long, but I think that we can probably get that done. As the next state senator in this district, the first thing that I'm going to do, even before being sworn in, is to reach across the aisle and build a reform caucus, 3 to 4 Democrats, 3 to 4 Republicans, and agree to pass term limits, to fight to pass term limits, to cap property taxes, free school taxes for seniors, and eliminate the loopholes that allow these individuals to use their public positions for their private benefit.
This next